Well, my name's Jay. I'll be your interviewer today. I want to get to know you a little bit better to see if you'd be a good fit for our company. So, if you don't mind, would you tell me a little bit about yourself and kind of your degree, what you want to do when you graduate?
I'm Michael Cantu. I'm from New Deal, Texas, which is just right outside of Lubbock. I'm currently a junior electronic media and communications major with a minor in communication study. Hoping to graduate in May and go into some type of media career field.
So can you give me an example of a time when maybe you've produced a story or been in front of the camera?
I'm currently working at the Daily Toreador newspaper at Texas Tech University, and in there I also started one of my own web series in which I interviewed people in front of the cameras. I was also the news editor for a time there, and so I would continually write stories, assign stories to some of my own employees, and kind of manage a staff throughout that time. So all that time I was writing, trying to incorporate video into that writing as well.
So can you give me an example of a time you've experienced conflict with another coworker or maybe a supervisor, and how did you handle it?
There's been many times where we've been working long hours, and you might think that every now and again you're just joking around with a few people. Sometimes after 12 plus hours in a newsroom, people might get a little bit annoyed, just because that's nature. Every now and again you'll take a joke too far, or you'll just kind of push something a little bit too far. But I think it's really important to always make sure to know that other people aren't always really do need a type of. That sometimes you need to apologize for some things you might do. Sometimes you need to also be very cautious of how you go about people. Not everybody's the same as you, so it's very important to keep their feelings in mind as well.
Okay. And if you were a brick in the wall, where would you be and why?
I would be off to the center, kind of off right, maybe a little bit, just so people kind of know where exactly I am. Just kind of establish myself, not really in the corners, because sometimes if you shine too bright, it takes away from the whole team effort. But I think if you're somewhere in the middle, you can kind of help out the rest of the wall, if you will.
How do you feel you did?
I hope I did well. I hope I did a few long pauses when necessary. Yeah.
With that, I think you did a very good job. I think that your filler that you mentioned is apparent. I wrote on one of the questions, I believe, when I asked you about what would your boss say, quite a few uhs, a lot of filler before you got into your answer, really. So just being aware of that can help you slow down sometimes. The thing is that I really liked that you did, you weren't afraid to take pauses.
Yeah.
I think when I asked you one word to describe you, you took a minute to think about it, and you paused and you said, that's a good question. And then you answered with efficient. I think that's okay. A lot of students don't know it's okay to pause, and you don't have to just gun an answer right away.
Right.
So I'm glad that you take some time to think about your answers. And when it comes to filler, that's okay too. You just don't want to pause too long.
Yeah.
Because that turns into awkward silence. And that concludes the mock interview, really.
Well, thank you very much for having us. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Very good. Thank you.